Hey, RetconRaider here, with special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Dragon Matrix 7, Mathew Smith, Revenant, Alois, Drakiith, Erie V23, EgonAlter, Emile, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Nathan Welch Jr., RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. As today, Xanthir Vang has pulled himself back together just in time for some good old-fashioned Xanthir vengeance. Side note, it took 8 minutes to clear those swarms. Let's wrap this up.
Press the attack!
I feel like a bully.
Cover me, all right?
Defeated, Xanthir drops to his knees. For a few drawn-out seconds, all you can hear is the rustling of the locust shifting under his robe. The sound suddenly morphing into rasping, unnatural laughter. Who could have predicted that a vandal, my enemy and the enemy of my masters, would be the one to rid me of my excruciating servitude? You're an unforeseen, unknown quantity that has solved the impossible equation. Such an elegantly simple solution to all my problems. The eerie laughter dies away as quickly as it came. Xanthir lifts his head and looks out at you from his locust swarm face. You have earned a reward. I know why you are here and what you seek. You destroyed my laboratory, stood in the way of science, and halted my demon transformation experiments. But I doubt you know the source of the Nihindrian crystals necessary for the process. I will show you the path to the truth, Vandal. But first, you must answer 2 of my questions. You just assume I don't already know that stuff? Maybe I'm just here to kill you. Doubting my intellect is a foolish move. If you already knew the truth, you would have directed your efforts towards destroying my supply routes, not breaking into my laboratory. I don't know. I mean, you were a loose end. The defeated foe lectures the victor on reliable strategies for warfare. Typical. This worthy sir is living out the final minutes of his life. He wishes to feel clever and astute in this moment. You could show a little basic compassion for the man, Paralictor. Comfort him, perhaps even embrace him. We're going to kill him at the end of it all, either way. Is there any specific practical purpose to your attempts at flippancy? Why, of course. I consider my chats with you to be an act of charity, Regil. I infuriate you. You receive a surge of emotions, and your bleaching is slightly slowed. See? Quite specific and practical. Huh. That's actually kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, in theory that would help Regil, I guess. So, Bugface, why do you think I'm actually going to believe anything you have to say to me at this point? It's not like you cultists are exactly known for being truthful and forthcoming. Because it is the logical thing to do. What motive do I have for concealing information that you will inevitably learn from the notes scattered around my laboratory? Xanthir falls silent for a moment. Furthermore, I would very much like to see your face as enlightenment dawns. Sure, why not? You piqued my curiosity. Ask away. Name the location of my laboratory before I was forced to relocate to the inhospitable Ivory Sanctum. Well, that's not really a question, but I'm going to go with Dresden, because Jerribeth already told me. Correct. Did you know that, or did you simply guess? It's of no consequence either way. And now answer me this. Why was my laboratory located there specifically? Why was Dresden chosen for my residence in the World Wound? Because that's where the Midnight Fane is. Jerry also told us that, which means the correct answer is probably number 1. But I can't resist rankling Xanthir. I don't suppose it's because of the fantastic view from the parapets? For a while, Xanthir says nothing, seeming to be carefully choosing his words. Stupidity and ignorance are at the very top of the list of your failings. I am ashamed to have been defeated by such a weak-minded creature. As well you should be. This is pretty embarrassing. I will simply give you the answer, but do not feel any sense of pride that you obtained it so easily. I hope you have wits enough to realize that it is no cause for pride, but for endless shame. Know this, I have been acquiring the Nahindrian crystals from the Midnight Fane, a shrine located deep under Dresden. Yeah, I know. Xanthir steels himself and slowly stands. What is it like to realize that the enemy has all this time been concealed in the bowels of your very own fortress? Don't bother answering. It was a rhetorical question. Now, let us finish this, Vandal. End my existence and free me from the burden of carrying out the orders of idiot masters and offending my eyes with the sight of their feckless followers. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment, but since you're feeling so chatty, how'd the demons hide the Midnight Fane from us anyway? I mean, I feel like a giant glowing portal would be somewhat hard to miss. Your naivety is worth lingering in this world. A surprising, incomprehensible phenomenon. I regret that I will not be able to study it under laboratory conditions. Chittering laughter emerges from beneath Xanthir's hood. Deep below Dresden, where the power of the Sword of Valor cannot reach, there is a place where the abyss and the material plane meet. It is where Lady Aurilu opened one of her rifts, creating a direct route to the abyss. That is where the Nahindrian crystals are coming from. Cool, so that confirms Jerry was telling the truth. That's really what I wanted to know there. The rift leads to... Well, I suppose I don't want to spoil the surprise, Vandal. You do so love surprises, after all. That would be the Midnight Isles, as confirmed by our brief glimpse at the Lexicon of Paradox Part 1, though also heavily implied just by the name of the gate. I mean, we knew that Lady Nocticula was somehow involved in this whole thing. Sox too. So it was pretty much a given. Okay, so if the demons have had a back door into Dresden all this time, why have they not mounted a surprise attack? They could have theoretically retaken the entire city. Why let us keep our foothold? Such an attack would reveal the secret of the Midnight Fane to the Crusaders. It has no right to fail. Unfortunately, you impressed Derazan so much during the battle for Dresden that he lost all courage. I am sure you will meet him in the Fane, aggrandizing himself at the expense of whoever happens to be around. What a laughing stock. Oh, goodness. Well, I look forward to clearing up another loose end then. Thank you. We need to make some more enemies. Otherwise, we're going to run out of people to wreak vengeance on. That's no good. However, sooner or later he will certainly try to attack Dresden from the inside. He is more afraid of Discari than you. Nah, it's cool. I think it'll be better if we meet him halfway. So hey, what exactly are these Nahindrian crystals? Special keys that can, with the proper handling and after a tedious ritual, awaken mythic powers in a demon. The process was discovered and developed by the great Arilu Vorlesh, my mentor. She calls it transformation. Those that have undergone it are called mythic demons, for their powers truly deserve to be glorified in myth. Do they? I feel like they blew up pretty easily, but okay. I am curious, though. What's Arilu like in person? You know, when she's not perpetually plotting intrigue just off-screen. She is my mentor, although she has never given me the slightest recognition. It was she who invented the method for transforming demons, using the Nahindrian crystals. Admiration, envy, and hurt all vie for dominance in Xanthir's voice. She is the best of all humans and demons, a true scientist, pioneer, architect of the world wound. It is ironic that both of the Abyss's finest scientific minds were mortals once. Isn't it? You counting yourself in there, or, I mean, is this a segue so you can aggrandize yourself before your inevitable end? Alright, I'll bite. Who is Xanthir Vang? Why should I even answer your question? Why stave off my final transition into blissful oblivion? Xanthir cocks his head to one side. I will answer you, but only out of my own curiosity. I want to see what intrigues a lowly creature such as yourself. Xanthir makes a sound that is not unlike a sigh. I am a higher being. I surpassed my mortal shell, discarded it, transformed myself like a larva, becoming a locust. My loyal service to the dark arts has not gone unrewarded. Lords Baphomet and Discari both gave me their consideration. I earned respect on this side of the world wound. And the only person whose respect I have not won is my mentor, Arilu Vorlesh. That is all that is permissible for you to know. Yeah, fair enough. But hey, how did you do this to yourself? Just jamming a bunch of Abyss energy into someone is one thing, but you're like a bunch of bugs. I won't be telling you anything. I did not spend years conducting research, carrying out experiments, and studying forbidden text just to give it all away to some vandal. The sacrifices I've made, the impossible truths my mind has had to encompass. Discari's philosophy, Baphomet's sophistry, Ereshkigal's riddles, the nebulous ravings of lesser-known demons such as Isyagna. You have probably never even heard these names before. No, I've heard of them. I'm just not crazy impressed. Bold of you to go for both Discari and Isyagna's guidance, considering that they hate each other, but I guess that does make sense. They would both have unique insight into turning yourself into a pile of bugs. Ereshkigal getting a name drop, though, that is slightly more intriguing. I know she's involved in the overarching plot somehow, I'm just not sure exactly where. Never ended up encountering her with my Azada, so she must appear really late in the game. It's enough that you have managed to get your hands on my notes. They say there is no king's road to knowledge. But for vandals, there isn't so much as a dirt track. If you want to achieve what I have, then follow the path I had to take. Every single step. No, I'm good, but thanks. Do not ask him about this. There are paths of which it is best not to know. What this man has done is more frightening than anything I've seen, than anything I've done to others. I beg you, do not look into how Xanthir Vang fell. This knowledge is a danger to your soul. No, we're good, Aru. I'm pretty happy with my ability to manipulate the very fabric of reality. But hey, I'm sure that being a writhing pile of bugs has its upsides too. What's that like? It is impossible to explain to someone who has not made the same exalted journey. Endless bliss, endless splendor, endless solitude. Among the lower creatures, there is no one who can understand me now. And yet you still want us to destroy you. Gotta say, Xan, that's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Have you seen my underlings, my so-called students? What, I ask you, can they hope to learn from me? Buffoons, that's what they are. A pathetic parody of scholarly devotion. They hear my words, but they do not understand them. Mindless fanatics and cultists, idiots besieging me with their endless questions. Killing them is pointless. I cannot banish them or use them as test subjects, because as soon as one dies, two more sprout in their place. Xanthir's voice is drowned out by the locust's furious churring. And the demons I am forced to work with? They are unable to fulfill even the simplest of instructions. All their tiny minds can think about is how to chew one another to pieces. Derazand, Monago, Jerribeth, they all started plotting against me as soon as I took up my post. How am I to work under these conditions? I am surrounded by utter morons. My only ambition has been to study the sciences, to discover secret truths. But instead, I have been obliged to manage a herd of brainless animals. Sucks. But I guess not something you have to worry about much longer. I have found myself at a dead end. I cannot abandon everything and leave. I will only be exchanging life in this unbearable place for a life among nameless ruins, constantly aware that my former masters could find me and exact retribution. I could hardly continue my work without my laboratory. Xanthir grows quiet for a moment. You have given me a way out, Vandal. A place where only peace awaits me. Where I will have no students or masters. Death. I am tired. Pretty sure you're going to the Abyss, so I'm not sure that's going to work out the way you're hoping it will, but okay. Hey, who's that Jerribeth you just mentioned? A troublesome gnat who thinks herself the queen of this dung heap. She hates me for usurping her in the sanctum, but she doesn't dare go against the orders of Baphomet and his daughter Hepzimira. Jerribeth is a known quantity, and a negligible one at that. Sure, yeah, you keep thinking that. It never hurts to underestimate your deadliest foes. Oh yeah, so I guess he's not going to the Abyss. But you know what, we'll just make that a pleasant surprise for him. Alright, Vang. Well, I mean, if you're really done being alive, I guess I can help you with that. Just, you know, don't say I never did nothing for you. Farewell, Vandal. I would thank you if I hated you any less than my master. May Baphomet and Discari burn, and may you burn with them. See you around, buddy. Small key. For the exit, I assume. Old grimoire. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, so this permanently increases your number of spell slots? Is that like a belt slot item you have to keep equipped? Or is that a one-use item, like the Owl of Wisdom we found back at the Hell Knight outpost? I mean, either way, it's fantastic, but... man, who would I even give it to? We've got no shortage of casters in the party. They could all use more slots. That's a tricky one. Especially if it's single use. Let me know what you guys think. More healing, more buffs, more offensive cast? I'm honestly not sure which one to prioritize. I think the main reason I might balk at giving it to Ember is just because he's already gotten so many fantastic items from this dungeon. That does make me lean towards Waljif or Aru. Maybe Darren, though we're not really hurting on healing. This, however, is a much easier choice. The +6 headband goes to Waljif. Because he is inexplicably the smartest person in our party, which just kind of blows your mind. Though to be fair, Nenio is kind of the pinnacle of supreme intelligence with minimal wisdom, and Waljif's not far behind her. Diary of a Student of the Great Xanthir the Plagued One. I see some stuff there about Nihindrian crystals. I think this one might actually be relevant, so let's give it a quick run-through. The new guy and his bloody candle stopped me from sleeping again last night. He's trying to get to grips with the ritual before the more advanced students. We'll see how well he studies later after I've chucked all his candles in the latrine. Yesterday we were loading crystals into the machine. Our teacher watched our every movement, and no wonder. None of us have successfully performed the transformation ritual without his oversight. The new boy opened his gob to say something, but the plagued one shut him up quick. I think by sending one of his locusts under the new boy's skin. There's no time for chit-chat when you're working with Nihindrian crystals. They're worth as much as diamonds, and they're delivered here straight from the abyss. Everything was going fine, except the person in charge of the ritual supplies turned out to be an idiot, like all the ones before him. He forgot to do a quality check on our prime ingredient. Crystals can vary in quality, and transformation requires flawless specimens. One time, some lumpen, dull-looking crystal found its way into the machine. The machine broke down and the subject was blown to pieces. The plagued one was raging. Once he'd calmed down and kicked the surviving students out of the lab. We were down by 4. Pity we didn't lose more. I really should smother an extra few of them some night when I get the chance. But I'll get to that later. Sometimes I think what we're trying to do here is pointless. You'd have to actually be Xanthir the Plagued One to remember all the details and nuances of the transformation ritual. It's bad enough having to check the crystals, never mind having to hold in your mind all the correct proportions and minute calibrations of the machines. So far, not even one of the advanced students has completed the transformation process successfully. The demons come out broken, mad, or lame. Maybe I should sneak into the Plagued One's study again and read through his papers. Maybe I'll find something I can use as crib notes. The entries end here. Gosh, I can't imagine why that might be. So yes, I think once again a fairly good example of high intelligence with low wisdom. I imagine that was mainly just intended to be a backup source of info, just in case we happen to miss chatting with both Jerribeth and Xanthir. Xanthir Vang's notes. Yeah, let's give that a gander too. Oh yeah, that's like 1 minute worth of stuff. A hefty notebook in a thick leather cover, every inch of which has been nibbled on by insects. There are dark streaks of dried blood on the binding. Documented inside, in small, precise handwriting, are the experiments of Xanthir Vang. The records mostly describe complex magical processes, the deciphering of which would take several days at least. But there are scattered passages written in less esoteric language. Telepathy, a dead end. I need a way to control the insects directly, with my will alone, bypassing conscious thought entirely. Parasitism, symbiosis. Test subject skin is gradually ingested, replaced by the swarm. Result, failure. How do I stop them from eating through tissue? What is flesh? What is a body part? Planting larvae in the fatty tissues under the effect of... indecipherable. The test subjects report pain when the hatching insect pierces through. The next step is to test it on myself. Gradual amputation of the left hand, phalanx by phalanx. Focus on phantom pains. Success! The locusts take the form of fingers. Only half of the fourth and all of the fifth finger for now. The locusts are still not completely responsive to my will, but enough to be able to write with this new hand. The next problem, the brain. Dispersed cognition? Removing consciousness to the astral plane? The test subject retains awareness when locusts replace up to 2/3 of the brain. Trepanation. Success. Vision. Unusual effect. Extremely itchy scalp. Wow, that devolved straight down to one step shy of itchy tasty. So yeah, I think we're good with our reality warping powers. I think we'll just hold off on the whole turning into a swarm of bugs thing. Not that I think we could at this point anyway. We burned the Veskabor Queen. Touch of Mercy. A +5 bleeding falchion. Whenever this weapon crits an enemy that is already bleeding, if their hit points are below 80, they instantly die. No savings throw. Though, I mean, on the other hand, if you're getting in a serious critical hit with a falchion, I feel like they'd probably be dead anyway. Especially given mythic feats and all. A magic sarcophagus with a tight-fitting lid. The locust creature can sleep inside it, unafraid that the swarm will disperse. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that would kind of be an existential nightmare, wouldn't it? Having a form like that where you have to use your conscious will to retain it. So yeah, like triple pass on turning myself into a sentient cloud of bugs. On the nature of the divine. We've already read that one, but yeah, I guess that would make sense for someone like Xanthir to have it. And yeah, he clearly counted himself as immortal, just like Aurilu Vorlesh. Though, obviously, he very much wasn't, unless he was using a very strange definition of immortal. Turning yourself into a pile of bugs does not make you immortal. It just makes you dispersed over a bunch of very mortal bugs. He essentially just gave himself finite but redundant backups. Hey, Jerry. You discovered Jerribeth engrossed in a task. She's holding a locust between two delicate clawed fingers. One of the locusts that previously comprised Xanthir Vang. And you watch as she slowly pushes a needle into its body. The demon observes the locust's convulsions with fascination.
This will require a lot of work. A lot of work to preserve this beauty.
See? Using another living being in one way or another. That is the highest form of compassion possible for us demons. To coexist with others we like, and to take pleasure in it is simply beyond our capabilities. Oh, you're being too hard on yourself, Aru.
Greetings, Crusader. Have you finished your business in the Ivory Sanctum? If so, I am happy to answer your questions now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind chatting for a bit. In fact, there was actually something I wanted to ask you. We ran into this other cultist named Zenedra, which I somehow know, even though she never actually said her name out loud.
Ah, Zenedra is a crafty and shrewd liar. She has a hideout, right under your nose, not far from Dresden. Search the temples of your good deities. Search them carefully. One of them is larger than it looks.
Already knew that, but once again, glad to see that she is a reliable source of information. So how about Nahindrian crystals and that whole demon power-up ritual?
Oh, I can tell you a lot about that. I've gone through the ritual myself. When I return to the Abyss, I will destroy the memory. That feeling of incredible helplessness and pain. Horrifying pain. The crystal is not like an ordinary magic potion you may have encountered before. It changes a demon's very essence. Their soul, if you like. It changes you entirely.
Interesting.
But you're hardly interested in my trials and tribulations. Listen, the crystals are brought here directly from the Abyss, from the Midnight Isles, the realm of Lady Nocticula. With her permission and approval, Hepzibah, the daughter of Lord Baphomet, oversees the shipments herself. Xanthir has always been in charge of the transformations, but he was not the one who devised the ritual or discovered the crystal's properties. The architect taught him that.
Right. So not just reconfirming that the Midnight Gate, of course, leads to the Midnight Isles, but also now clarifying that it is Lady Nocticula who's the source of the gems, the Nahindrian crystals.
She, Arilu Vorlesh, is unbearably arrogant. She thinks she has the right to push real demons around. So don't think that you've solved this problem for good. Sooner or later, Arilu will share the secret of the ritual with another, and demons more powerful than you will inundate the lands of the World Wound once more.
What, you mean like the ones I cut down by the dozens on my way through this place? Okay. What else can you tell me about the people who run this whole World Wound shindig?
Lord Discari was the one who started the invasion. Arilu Vorlesh opened the World Wound for him, and she expanded it for him. Later, he was joined by my master, Lord Baphomet, now former master. Few people knew that Lady Nocticula has been helping them from the shadows, as is her wont. But commanding forces, battles, all that is beneath the notice of the Lords of the Abyss. Each of them has their archpriest. Discari has his echo, literally a lesser incarnation of Discari himself. Baphomet's forces are led by the ruthless Hepzibah, his daughter by blood. Each of the archpriests has a host of powerful beings at their command, such as myself, Minago, Derazand, and the captivating Xanthir. We mustn't forget him. And then there is...
All is silent in your head for a moment.
Then there is her, Arilu Vorlesh, the architect of the World Wound, as she's called. Born a pitiful mortal, not a demon, not even reborn in death like Xanthir. She stands apart from all others. She goes where she wants, talks to the archpriest as an equal, and sees everyone else as underlings, nothing more. I'm not even sure if she obeys the echo of Discari, or if he obeys her.
Very, very interesting. What else can you tell me about Arilu? Your head is filled with a harsh, rattling sound. It seems that Jerribeth is angry.
Arilu Vorlesh. 100 years ago she was a human, a common eldritch sorceress from Sargeras. But Sargeras did not care for arcane magic users. Druids, shamans, and priests ruled those lands, and they despised anyone who wielded magic in ways different to their own. The mages held in greatest suspicion saw out their days in the prison known as Threshold, and that is where Arilu was held. From her cell she appealed to Lord Discari, and for some reason he saw something in that pathetic mortal plaything that was worthy of his attention. No one knows what they spoke of, what they did, but Arilu emerged from her prison cell utterly changed. She emerged when the earth all around was fracturing, and all Galarion shuddered from the wound inflicted on it. Right there, within the walls of Threshold, the World Wound began to break open. Arilu changed her very nature. She turned herself into a half-fiend, on her own or with the Lord's help. I don't know. Her powers grew exponentially, and many of Discari's generals, surging through the wound into Galarion, saw her as a queen. Gutless losers. Arilu was entirely unaffected by her fame. It was as if nothing could provoke her. Not the hatred of her former people, not the fear and envy of the demons. And this is how she is to this day. She roams between the planes alone, pursuing her own ends. Arilu Vorlesh, betrayer of humanity, architect of everything you see around you.
Yep, as has become glaringly obvious the more we've investigated this whole thing. How about the Midnight Fane? It seems like you were on the up and up about that, so what else can you tell me about the gate below Dresden?
The Midnight Fane, of course. It was built in the bowels of the earth below Dresden, so deep underground that even the power of the mighty Sword of Valor cannot reach it. It is a chapel of 3 demon lords, Discari, Baphomet, and Nocticula. All of the world wound is connected, fused with the abyss. But this place especially so. It contains a rift known as the Gates of Midnight. The chapel is protected against any invasion. All visitors from the Midnight Isles go there. Monago and Derazand have built their nests there. I enjoyed spending time there myself. Until it became too unruly.
Yeah. Derazand, Monago, they're a handful. Alright, well, I mean, Jerry's been nothing but truthful with us since our initial agreement. And she has been very forthcoming with additional info since then. Not to mention, she didn't even bring up us killing all of her followers. I don't think she even cares. So, I guess we're good. See you around, Jerry. It has shockingly been a pleasure. The Narrow Shadow bows to you.
Doing business with you has been interesting, Crusader. Farewell, I am leaving for the Abyss. For a new patroness. Somewhere where Hepsimira's wrath cannot reach me. Perhaps one day the World Wound will again be a place where I can continue my game. But perhaps not. Who knows?
Wow, okay. We got a boatload of XP there. And I guess she took Xanthir with her, which makes sense. But she did not take Marhavok. Poor guy. I guess she has a new toy now, a new obsession. Wow, that's rough. But maybe she'll come back for him, I don't know. Not my place, not my business. We'll leave those crazy kids to their, fun. We never did find the other half of that code, did we? And, I actually forgot to check the symbols above the shrines. Meant to do it, didn't get around to it, not gonna do it now. We'll just, I guess we'll just brute force this thing. We have half the combo. That really narrows down the number of possible combinations. Let me just do one quick sweep here. Make sure we didn't miss anything obvious. Nope, looks pretty clear. Alright, let's see what those first 2 symbols were. Sorry, just double checking real quick to make sure we didn't pick up another note without me noticing it. Doesn't look like it. Hexagon and triangle, 6 and 3, in that order. We just have to guess what the 3rd and 4th symbol are. Hexagon and triangle. Hey, fantastic. That was a fluke, but I will absolutely take it. Let's see what we got. Riddle Mask. That brings us up to 2. 2 of 4. Or did we already have one back at the Nameless Ruins? I don't think we did. And a cloak. The Cloak of Carnage. +5 competence bonus on Arcana. And +2 to the DC of all savings throws for evocation spells. Which immediately makes it an Ember item, though, this, though, isn't a Cloak of Resistance, so she would be giving up her save bonuses. And her religion bonus, and she's our only religion character. Oh man, I'm torn. We have Waljiv as a backup on Arcana, but the Arcana is kind of a secondary thing here because it's really that evocation bonus that makes the Cloak of Carnage so appealing. But is that worth giving up the resistance bonuses and the bonus on religion? It would also let us free up that bracer slot, because she's getting armor from the Haramaki. So she could theoretically put on a different set of bracers, which stacks additional bonuses. Not that we really have anything suitable right now, but I might have something back in storage. Again, feel free to weigh in on that. I'd be curious to see what other people think. She's a blaster, so I feel like going offensive is more important. But we are giving up a lot of defense for those bonuses. Anyway, we're pretty much done with the Ivory Sanctum. We have a level up in the queue, but we're not going to do that till next time. I need to double check my notes. Make sure I know what I'm doing with all our characters. And I don't want to rush leaving this place just yet, because I want to give it another pass off-screen to make absolutely sure we got everything. But given the divine intervention, there might be someone waiting for us at the entrance. Let's pop out real quick. If there's another conversation, we'll run through that. Huh, nothing. Yeah, there's the exit, so if there was a mandatory story event, it would have fired by now. Something's going on over here. But nothing's jumping out at me. Oh, we do have new events in the queue. Arushale wants to talk. Yes, that must be your companion quest. We'll jump on that next time. I think we still have, like, 4, maybe 5 companion quests that haven't fired yet. Xanthir's experiments. The commander came across the notes of Xanthir Vang. The experiments they describe are horrible, inhuman, and intriguing. Xanthir used to submit himself and his victims to metamorphosis in an attempt to become a living swarm, united by a single consciousness. The commander can repeat the experiments, but at a very high cost. He will have to expose numerous mortals to painful vivisection, not to mention the fact that the commander himself will be subjected to unbearable suffering. No doubt the horror of the procedure will turn many crusaders away from their leader. Furthermore, there is no certain reward for such a venture, apart from a better understanding of insect nature, and a moderate yet questionable gain in power. The knowledge gleaned from the experiment's outcome will have no practical value. Not yet, at least. Hard pass. As has been already thoroughly established, we are not interested in becoming a pile of bugs. Our incredible godlike powers are already sufficient for our needs. Omelette Innovation. There is an interesting trophy among the quarry that the commander captured in the Ivory Sanctum. A clutch of woundworm eggs. It is common knowledge that such dragons, as a rule, are malicious by their nature, so nobody wants to hang around for the evil critters to be born. Citadel's cook has offered to make a giant omelet, such as never been tasted before. A feast for all of Dresden will certainly lift the morale of the Crusaders. Well, A, we don't need morale, and B, I feel really weird about eating the eggs of sentient creatures. What else have we got? Blah, blah, blah. A group of druids is ready to relieve the Crusaders of this perilous treasure and take the eggs into their care. In answer of the question on whether the druids would condition the young dragons to be kind creatures, that shun violence and do not eat mortals alive, a druid evasively replied that he and his companions should not get in the way of nature. Fair enough, I guess. Which grants assorted combat bonuses to dragon units. I don't know if tricksters actually get dragons. I know Azada do. Obviously Gold Dragon would too. I have no idea if anyone else does. But I mean, that is still more appealing than cracking them open and eating them for morale we don't need. Wow, I was really hoping we'd have better options here. Oh, angels. Okay. The heavenly host is awaiting us back in Dresden. Fair enough. But because I still want to do another pass in the Ivory Sanctum, that will have to wait for next time. I guess we'll toss them in Pilquell's Pikers. We're not going to be getting many other angels in our army, I imagine. Alright, folks. We are now at time. We're not ready for that level up. And we're obviously not heading back to Dresden until I do another pass through the Sanctum. So we'll hit the pause button for now. We'll take care of the off-screen bookkeeping, do another sweep, and check my notes to make sure we're ready for that level up. And we will pick up here next time. As we hit level 4, return to Dresden to whatever events await us, and then figure out where we're going from there. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official websites. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon, the YouTube memberships, or the Nexus GG page. Links are in the description.
Ha 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 ha!